As a person playing the Japanese format, I don't know if I should feel jealous or relieved that on one hand, Order Colony is finally dead in the English format, but Harry got a slap on the wrist. Harry, not Nightmare Dolls, which kind of makes me kind of mad, but that's beside the point. I'm recording this right after I just heard of the ban list. I don't know what to say. I guess Japanese just got Nizar banned, so that's kind of sad. But yeah, anyways, you came here for something called the DP deck profile. Of course, I just had to talk about the ban list. I don't know, and also like I don't really like the fact that we're having a split ban list for Japanese and English, because like I'm playing Japanese format, and so my content, like the meta that I might talk about might be different from English. So I guess I could try to like side between one or the other, just to give you guys perspectives in the future. But yeah, anyways, DP deck profile. I've been delaying this like ever since Premium Collection. I was really hesitant to release this because like I haven't found a proper build that I wanted to stay on for like more than a week. I've been changing my deck list like every single week because like I don't know, like there's so much to try out, there's so much to just perfect in this list that I just told myself, let's just get this over with, and if there's any like big updates, I'll probably do another video just to re-explain everything in a video. And I think I already did a premium deck profile for DP before, but that is for D-Robos, whereas right now we're actually focusing on the legitimate V-Starter Dailiner build. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, I like to start off my profiles with Starter, which of course I used to play the old Goyusha, but I just realized that the V starters are just way better. If for whatever reason you need to play an old starter, you should probably play in the deck. But of course, Goyusha being a card that you want in the early game makes it so that you have to play as a starter. But anyways, I've regressed myself to playing the V starter, and so what the V starter does is when rolled upon, draw one card, and if your opponent's grade 1 or higher, if I'm correct, that is it, you get to draw one card. Not what the frick. You get to get a quick shield. What the hell am I talking about? Not draw a card, get a quick shield. I'm having a brain fart. But yes, it allows you to get 2 cards to hand if you're going second. And yeah, the card draw is actually really important in almost every other deck as well as DP. So yeah, the V starters are great stuff. Going on to the right target of this deck is of course Dimensional Robo Dailiner. This has been the staple of premium DP for as long as I remember. As long as I have been playing DP at least. Yeah, I really like this card. This card really just tanks up the whole entire deck. I did, try to go for random builds like Gravidia or Prison even, but I didn't really like how they worked out, and I just went straight for Dailiner. Like, this is just the best card to be on. At any other point in time, if you're not on Dailiner, your defense is just super low. So yeah, what does he do? Continuous on Vanguard Circle. All your grade 3s get 10k shield, both on your and your opponent's turn. So yep, basically beefs up your grade 3s, and so yeah, we'll be playing a lot of grade 3s because DP grade 3 is awesome. Second skill, act on Vanguard Circle once per turn, counter +1, soul +1, and you may look at the top 7 cards of your deck and choose up to 1 normal unit from amongst them and add it to your hand. And if it's a grade 3, your this unit pluses 20k and 1 crit. So do remember, you have to put a normal unit. You can't add triggers, you can't add link cards, you can't add heal guards. So yep, that doesn't work. But honestly, this card is really good. Even if you're going, you don't have to commit a grade 2 game, because this card just gives you so much advantage and so much shield that you just want to stay on this guy. You're okay with giving your opponent for their first strike, because well, you just tank so much with him. And so yeah, this guy has really put in a lot of work for DP, and the shield from your grade 3s just keeps on scaling. And yeah, this is really good. Just stick with him. Next, the partner in crime with Dailiner that has been like premium staples ever since. is Dizaurus, Dimensional Robo Dizaurus. Anyways, his skill, on Vanguard Circle, during your turn, he pluses 5k for every card in your damage zone. You don't really use that because you don't really want to ride into Dizaurus. What you actually use him for is for his Rearguard skill, which is at the end of the battle it attacked. If your Vanguard's power is 35k or higher, counterblast 1 and chuck him into the soul, your Vanguard passes 10k in 1 drive. So, I have been deciding to cut him down to 3, or heck, even down to 2. But I just decided to stay with 4 because 4 is honestly the safe option. People have just been playing 4 very consistently, right? Yeah, and there is a reason why these two have been, you know, faces of premium DP ever since. So yeah, you usually use this when you go into cards like Excalibur or Daikaiser Leon. You don't actually get to really use this on your Geomagas turn because you don't get to actually pump your Geomagas all the way up to 35k, which is kind of bad. But then again, if you're using it on Excalibur, you get to get another card in return instead of just one card from the drive. So yeah, the reason why I've been deciding to cut him is that, well, he's just another drive, and although you might be thinking another drive is pretty big, we have a new G-Guard that gets back our Great 3s from drop, and so I just felt like you just want to see this during turn 4 or later. You don't really want to see this during your turn 3 or even your first stride. You're never going to use it then. You're only literally going to use it when you go into your finishers like Unibird, like Excalibur, like maybe even Stark. So yeah, I have been considering it, but I don't think you should. I think playing 4 is still really safe, so I'll be keeping it at 4. Maybe in the next deck profile you might be seeing me cut it. And the other premium staple from Silver Dust Blaze is Diarm, and Diarm has a really simple effect, which is on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, when placed, if your opponent's hand cards is 10 or more, I think it's choose 3 of your front row units and they get plus 30k. So yep, this card basically just gives your entire front row 30k, and so this is like the only one scenario where you can actually use Dizaurus on the Geomagas turn. So that when you place him down, your Geomagas is actually gonna turn into a 58k, if I'm correct, that is 58. And so you can actually swing and then use his skill to go into soul. So yeah, that's like the only other scenario where you can actually use Geomagas. But you actually use this just to punish your opponent for having more than 10 hand cards, because like in this meta, you have a lot of decks that just play really slow and they just get so much hand. You need some way to deal with the hand without playing Mist Off. Oh, Mist Off. Imagine playing Mist Off, guys. Yep, so Diarm is, I guess, an inbuilt Mist Off in DP, but it's like a better Mist Off because you get to proc your skills as well. So yeah, Diarm, there's a reason why he's been played together with Dailiner and Dizaurus throughout Premium. So yeah, I think I did used to just not want to play him at all, because like my opponent would just know that I do play Diarms in my deck, so they just purposely keep at 9, keep at 8. They just won't give me 10, so like I just felt like this card's just useless. You shouldn't play him at big copies, but I think playing 3 is fine. Like most of the time he might just be a vanilla, but that's okay. There are still like what, 25k shields. It's really big. So yeah. And so next, on to the other Great 3s of the deck. I played 2 Daikaisers. Now yes, I really like Daikaiser in premium deck. Like my last deck profile, I played the old one because, well, back then, I think the new one was already out when I did it, but I just really like the old one because you could just break right on top of Dailiner. You can do a bunch of shenanigans. But basically there's essentially 3 reasons, if I'm correct. 3 reasons why you actually play him. First reason is that you actually can go into Daikaiser Leon, and that's the most important reason, more or less, because like Daikaiser Leon can basically get over PGG guards, and so that's really good. But then again, you might be arguing that Daikaiser Leon is just not powerful enough. Your opponent can just hard guard it. We'll get into that a little later when we talk about Daikaiser Leon. But the second reason why I should play him is because he's basically a second right target to your Dailiner when you do actually whiff. You can stay on him. It's not that bad to stay on him. Of course, it depends on your matchup, but being able to stay on him and then just call him out is really good. It's really good. It really helps. And then third reason, of course, is just because he pressures in the rearguard circle. This is probably like the reason that matters the least, because like most of the time your opponent already knows how to play around this card. They're not stupid. Like they're not stupid like when this card was first released anymore. So they'll know how to play around this card. Or I don't know, maybe if it's a friend or whatever that doesn't know how this really works, they'll probably misplay. But the reason why I actually like playing him as a rearguard as well is just place 2 on rearguard circle, and then your opponent has to drop 2 PGs, or I don't know, PGG guard I guess, or not they're gonna have to take 2 damage, which is sometimes lethal. But most of the time it's lethal in your late game. So yeah, I like to play Daikaiser for those reasons, and I think he's still really good. Plus it's just like 2 slots off of your many grade 3s that you can run. You can cut die arms and then you just play something else. I'll go through more options later in the video. But the last grade 3 that I play in this deck is of course Taser Large. I don't know what's the full name, but basically you play her because her skill is front row rearguard circle once per turn. When your opponent's rearguard is placed not from their hand, you may rest it. I just realized I did not read out Daikaiser's skill, but it's okay, it was probably on the screen anyways, so I'm sorry about that. But going on to Taser Large, you can choose whether to activate it or not when your opponent places that unit that is not from hand. So your opponent can kind of bait you out of not using Taser Large at all. But yeah, basically you actually play this just to counter Nightmare Doors, and then you play Dismail in your deck. But honestly, I don't really like that idea. It's not that I don't like it, but it's just that you're just killing the Alice and like, that's all. As scary as Alice is, I think like the whole entire Nightmare Door engine is more scary than just the Alice Leslie. But of course Alice Leslie is scary, but it's just that everything else that goes in between is just that much scarier. And so yeah, you can actually play her. I mean, I still do play her for the Nightmare Door matchup. But I actually play her for like basically every other kinds of matchup where they were just superior core from deck. Like say the mirror match, like this in the mirror match is pretty good, unless they have Mikani. I'll talk about that later. But basically, you can literally just call this, and then mirror match, if they Geomaga's call, you just rest it. You can kind of like survive out of the grade 3 attacks that might be pretty huge after trigger stacking, I guess. And also Grand Blue, of course. My Grand Blue has Retire Cannoneer, but it costs CP. Basically any kind of thing that calls not from hand, which is pretty frequent, so I just like to play her as a tech. But honestly, I haven't been really going into her, so I might actually cut her for something else. But we'll see. She's still really good, she's still really solid, still DP people's favorite. Like literally when I first saw this card review, I was like, damn, this works in DP. I can just counter decks like Grand Blue. I didn't even thought about Nightmare Doors, to be honest. Grand Blue dies, Harry, Pale Moon dies, and whatnot. So yeah, it's funny card, and so I just thought to play 2, and this has been consistent 2 in my deck ever since then. On to the grade 2s. I think it's better if I show this off before the actual right target, which is Gelslach. Yes, Gelslach is the MVP of our grade 2s. Well, I guess the other one is also really good, but this is really the MVP. What he does is on Vanguard Circle, Rearguard Circle, when placed, if your opponent is grade 2 or higher, you may Soul Blast 1. And then activate one of the following abilities if they are grade 2, and then if they are grade 3, you may activate both. The first one is your opponent may counterblast 1, or not, you draw 1 card. The second one is your opponent may Soul Blast 1, or not, they would minus 5k to their Vanguard until end of turn. So yep. You literally use this to draw a card. Like your turn 2, like DP can actually somewhat play an okay turn 2 by just spamming Gelslachs to the side, or like maybe just spamming in general, and just Soul Blast 1, draw a card. Cause like sometimes you just not give your opponent any damage, and so what that means is that they can't counterblast. So yeah, you just draw a card. Haha. So yeah, also I forgot to mention, when playing this deck, of course, you will want to ideally stick your opponent at 3 damage, and then you go into Unibird and 3 damage again. So yes, you want to keep them at 3, keep them at sometimes 2, but the safe spot is 3. So you want to just play around with their damage and deny them CP, of course. And so yeah, this card is really nice sometimes. Like it's -5 is just the icing on the cake. You really just use this just cause you draw a card, and also being able to like neg them a CB is also really good. Like if they just decide, oh yeah, your draw one is too good, let me just CB, and you're like, haha, he doesn't know that I'm not even gonna give him enough counter blast. So yes. So next, the other grade 2 that is just awesome is Dailiner, and I think I've already played 4 on my previous list because this is a dimensional robo. But you literally play him for like the first effect, which is Vanguard Circle. All your grade 3s get plus 10k shield. So yes, this is basically the same skill as Dailiner. Why is this good? It's because it can survive aggro. It's a early Dailiner skill, which is really good. Also, it has a second skill that is you don't really even use it often. But if you do need to somewhat play a turn 2, then just pressure your opponent a little bit. Second skill is basically just when he attacks, he passes 10k, and then at the end of the battle, he dies. So yes, it's kind of like an inbuilt Night Rose hollow skill from V. And so yeah, you literally just play him just so that you can survive. You never really use the plus 10k skill unless, I don't know, you call him in a Geomagla's turn, but then again, you're probably calling other stuff like grade 3s just the not just the damage deny your opponent with Geomagla's. But yeah, I decided to not play Grand Wisdom, but instead play him because every single time I ride him, my odds of surviving it's just that better. It's just that much better. Like, especially since he's a 10k, Grand Wisdom is a 9k, he's a 9k. So yes, you just want to ride him instead. Next, on to the grade 1s. I play 3 Bike. I don't play 4 because, spoilers, I don't have space for 4. What does he do, and why is he so good? And why did he come out of the blue and just became this staple right target in premium DP? Well, his skill is auto. When rolled upon, you may discard 1 card from your hand, and you may reveal a grade 3 from your hand. And if you do, you search your deck for 1 grade 3 that is a different name from that you've revealed, and add it into your hand. And he has also a back row rearguard skill, which is when your opponent's rearguard attacks, if its power is 25k or lower, you may soul blast 1 and retire this unit, and you may negate that attack. Wait, no, not negate. You may nullify that attack. Well, yes, that kind of became Yu-Gi-Oh for some reason there, but yep. You play him because his first effect is awesome for searching basically every grade 3 you want to search. If you don't have Dailiner, you search for Dailiner. If you don't have a hero, you search for the hero. If you don't have Taser Large when, I don't know, you're playing against Night Battles, I guess, you search for Taser Large. You want Diarm because your opponent has like, what, 16 hand, you search for that Diarm. So yes, his on-ride skill is pretty good. And it's also like, the fact that he is a turn 2 search is just that much more better. Because during turn 2, you should probably already know what you want to have and what you don't want to have. And so yeah, and then his second skill is also really good because like against every other multi-attack deck, you just have this in the back row. You just constantly kill him, and you just nullify the attacks. And so yeah, that's really good. I originally was not a fan of this card because you discard, then you reveal. So what that means is that you cannot discard the revealed unit. But over time, I just felt like, oh yeah, he's just that good after all. The other option for this right target slot is, of course, Die Prop. I think Die Prop is still really good because you get to survive aggro on top of Die Dumper. And then, of course, Die Scooper. But Die Scooper is not confirmed. But he actually gives you an extra card, unlike this Bike. So, yep. Bike. Now, next in the grade 1 slot, we have Laurel. But not just this kind of Laurel. We have the other Laurel. It's the old Laurel. Yes, why am I playing old Laurel? And this seems really weird, I know, but I think it's safe to go through the new one first. Basically, rearguard once per turn, cast 1 and rest 4 units, and choose one of your units. Its power gets doubled, and it gets crit +1. So yep, basically you use this in the main phase to power up your X-Gallop or your Unibird to extreme numbers and most importantly, actually, give it a crit. Because giving the crit means that you can actually swing for 3, swing to 4 damage, and then just make sure that you just don't give your opponent extra damage. Just make them have to work with 2, have to work with 3, and they have to. And if they don't draw or like search their counter charges or whatever, they just don't get any more counter bars, which is good for you. So yes, you mainly actually play him for the crit skill to give it to your Vanguard. The power is most likely just a slight icing on the cake, but you really use him for the crit. But then again, if you're using it for the crit, people is just be saying, why not just play Dijacker? It's because Dijacker has really weird timing. And so yeah, you just play Laurel instead of Dijacker. And also I cut Laurel down from 3 to 2 because this guy is just that much better. Well, what does he do? The old one, on Regard Circle, if your Vanguard attack hits, rest 4 and then restand that unit. Basically what happens is that when your Vanguard attack hits, you rest 4 units and then it restands. That means you get to do triple drive again. So why is that good? It's because sometimes you just straight up don't give your opponent any damage or just leave them at 1. And DP, despite being able to damage deny pretty well, you can't actually damage deny an opponent on 1 damage. They'll probably just take your Unibird, they'll probably just take your Excalibur, and then what? They just have enough counters to actually do their plays now. So you just slam down this guy and say, no, you have to guard my attack. Or not, I'm going to restand my Vanguard and do another triple drive, or, well, in the case of Excalibur, I don't even want to know how many drives you're going to get. So, yep, this guy I feel like it's a really good tech. I wish he gets unrestricted. If he gets unrestricted, I'll probably play 2 of the old and 1 of the new. Because I feel like the new only comes up when you need to first turn Excalibur, or, you know, go into your Daikaiser Leon. So yeah, I might, what I just said might not be very valid, but so far I do enjoy playing 2 and 1 of the old. I might just even stick with this even if he gets unrestricted. So yeah, that's Laurel. Laurel's a cool card. And next, it's a card that, well, I think not a lot of DP players know of its existence, but Drawhead is freaking awesome. This guy is awesome, alright? First of all, I know some people decided to play Honolly. I know Different Fight plays Honolly. And I just feel like this is just such a better tech card than Honolly. Like, Honolly just targets specific matchups, but this card basically kind of does almost every single deck. So what does he do? His skill is on Guardian Circle, when placed, counterblast 1 and your opponent cannot boost until the end of the turn. But of course, there's a bracket that says current boosts are still active. So what does this mean? Against Nightmare Dolls, you just don't let that Leslie boost at all. Leslie cannot boost, cannot restand. Yeah, you just kill that Leslie. So yes, really nice, really nice. And then against Grand Blue, if they don't play, if they don't like Bat Bounty into Night Rose, you use this, their Night Storm. They're not gonna do anything at all. Let's just pick something super rogue like what, Victor. Victor, you use this, you're gonna kill their the booster restander. Oh yeah, the best matchup, the matchup that this card is best at, of course, Regalia. Regalia, if you use this against Regalia, that means they can't actually use their non. You just make them not be able to restand their Vanguard, cause, well, you can't boost anymore. So yeah, I don't think Regalia players actually expect this from DP. Most Regalia players don't even know this card exists. Yeah, this card is really good. In fact, I feel like this card is much better tech option than Taser Large, because Taser Large, like I said, targets only specific matchups, whereas this kills almost every deck. Like, just stop them from boosting. Yeah, I think that's really good. That's really cool. It's a really cool card to have. And it's even like on Guardian Circle effect. Thus that means your opponent cannot like nullify it, or basically they cannot like try to retire this guy, and then it'll just, the effect will just stop. But no, this effect targets the player. So I really like Drawhead. I don't know how to explain, but ever since I dumped this guy into the deck and just played more and more of him, it has just been better for every single matchup. It's kind of crazy. Like, even decks that don't even care about their boosters, sometimes just being able to place this down just means that they just lost like 10k boost or whatever. So yep, Drawhead. Now onto the grade zeros. I'm not going into the triggers just yet because I play Counter Charger Man. Yes, he is a starter from back in 2016. I think it's 2016. Well, basically the Gallop deck. His name is Cosmic Hero Grand Hop. Yep, so his skill is, of course, first skill, Forerunner, but we're not going to use him as Forerunner, he's inside our deck. Second skill, Burst, Act, GB1, you may rest this unit as cost. And if your opponent, if your Vanguard is 25k or higher, choose one of your units. I think it's Vanguard, no, not units. Yeah, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 4k. And then if your Vanguard is 35k or higher, then you may draw a card and countercharge one. So what he does for you is basically main phase countercharge. So that's really good. But not only that, but he also goes to Soul. Yes, and he also gets the minor plus 4k buff. Yeah, saying that he goes to Soul and countercharge kind of makes me think that this guy is like Luat starter guy. I actually forgot his name, I'm sorry, Luat fans. But yeah, he gets you Soul, that's first thing. And he also counter charges, which is just really good. But then again, you're playing Unibird in this deck now, so that means you're not really gonna counterblast very often. And also Unibird gets drive on its own, so that means you're not really gonna be using your Daizoras that often as well. So yeah, it's just less CB in general. But just playing this guy just the counter charge. Yeah, I think he's much more better counter charger than Element Blank. I think that's his name. And I think it's much better than Grand Wisdom, because Grand Wisdom needs to attack, and attacking with Grand Wisdom is just not good. You rather attack with Heck, just attack with like freaking Die Dumper. He's a 20k instead of freaking Grand Wisdom. So yeah. Also, if you don't really like him, you can just go straight out with like no counter charges at all. Just play like 4 Bike or play another Laurel if you feel like 2 of the V1 is not enough or whatnot. So yeah, onto the triggers. I think I should first talk about this. Haha. I just, well, I hate to break it to you, but I'm just broke and I cannot afford the Brangate over trigger. I'll get it soon, I'm sorry, but overall, the Crit Elemental one is not that bad, because I usually just check it defensively nonetheless. So yeah, and then also during your finish turns, you may actually like check this and then give 100 million to 2 rearguard columns, and then your opponent just dies from your rearguard columns being just so big. So yeah, that's not that bad either. But you should be playing Stargate one, because you can just instantly OTK your opponent with Dailiner in that case. And so yep, we need to play 4 Linka, because Linka is just that good. Basically, you play this on your X-Gallop, you play this on your Unibird, just to give that Daikaiser kind of Daikaiser-esque effect to nullify PGs. So yeah, I mean like your X-Gallop, your Unibird is probably going to go really high. Especially Unibird. Unibird, if you use a V-Laurel on Unibird, it's going to be freaking crazy, just 200 freaking, I guess, strike crits and the draw PGs. I feel like playing 3 crits is really little. I've been trying to maneuver this, but overall I just haven't been able to play a grade 1 PG, just to like cut down more draw PGs, because I think deck space is an issue. If it's really that bad, I might just cut Grand Hop altogether, but so far I feel like it's okay. And also, you're gonna be like pressuring your opponent with a bunch of crits already, so the crit triggers, you're mainly playing it just so that like it's to round off when your opponent just goes, yeah, 1 crit to pass, or just to give it to your rearguard so they can actually like push for a game. So yeah, and of course, probably the clan that benefited most from heal guards. So yes, heal guards. I don't think I should go through what it does. But yeah, basically, aside from its if you are grade 2 or lower skill, this guy is not only a trigger but also a grade 3. So on Daikaiser Leon, if your opponent just goes, you need 2 grade 3s to pass and 1 trigger. You just sack this, and this is a grade 3 and a trigger. So yes, you just get another trigger and your Daikaiser Leon just breaks through shield. So yep, this is the trigger lineup for what I'm playing currently. I might change. Feel really inclined to change the draws. Even though I really liked playing a lot of draws in DP, I feel like being, because the fact that we're playing Linka in our trigger lineup, we can't play so many crits anymore, in which I feel like crits are also really important. So on to the G zone. Yes, I have quick shield. It's good to have quick shields. And Force 2s. Yeah, I actually forgot to mention this, but yes, you're playing Force 2 in this deck. I don't think Force 1 is really that good in premium DP. I mean, like, yeah, I guess you could say you can argue that Force 1 does better work in some other scenarios, but honestly, I feel like just Force 2 is just much better. So yeah, the MVP Stride has put in so much work. People underrated this card when it was released. I mean, like, maybe like people in general, I'm not too sure about DP fans, but definitely memes about this card being bad was a thing, but not anymore, because this card is freaking awesome. This card just bumps up your grade 3s to immense shield. Your heal guards become 45k maximum, so that's funny. Anyways, what does Geomagas do? Continuous on Vanguard Circle or G Zone. All your grade 3 rear guards and guardians get plus 5k and 5k shield as well as intercept. So basically this stacks. So if you have 4 face up, that means they're gonna have plus 20k power and 20k shield and has intercept. So the intercept skill is really good because you can get over that new Pale Moon Stride that says you need to drop 2 from hand in order to guard. Of course, Morfessa does the same thing, and sometimes hope on them. But usually in NLK, they'll probably, like, if they know that you can intercept, they'll probably just like NLK into barrel immediately, and the barrel suck your field. So yeah, that kind of sucks. So yeah, if NLK is basically just this deck's worst matchup. In my opinion, I feel like NLK is the worst matchup of this deck. But if anyone of you guys have experienced the like even worse matchup than NLK, do tell me in the comments below. Share your experiences. I forgot to even explain his second skill, which is probably like kind of important if you're going second, because you're going to be always first riding this, because your Linkas are GB2 and you cannot use her when you first stride, or like you haven't G-guarded yet. So his second skill is Vanguard Circle. When he attacks, Canvas 1, flip a G unit face up, and you may look at the top 7 cards of the deck and choose 2 cards from amongst them and call them to Rearguard Circle, and for every grade 3 you have on your field, he pluses 1 crit. So yep, usually this is a way to damage deny your opponent. You just bring this up to what 4 crit, 5 crit, just swing. On top of that, if you can't get yourself to 3 crit or even like 4 crit, 5 crit, right, you just drop down the old Laurel that you can search from him, so that your opponent has to guard this. So yep, Geomagas, just an awesome card. You play him because he's the best flip fodder, and as well as probably the best like first strike going second, just to farm some cards. Next, to Unibird Galaxy, which is the newest Stride. I really like this card. His skill basically burst auto on Vanguard Circle once per turn. When he attacks, flip a G unit face up, and if this unit is 50k or greater, he pluses 1 crit, and if he's 100k or greater, he pluses drive. I pluses 2 drive. So how is he gonna get to such immense numbers? His first effect, which is continuous on Vanguard Circle, for every card in your damage zone and on your rearguard circles, he pluses 10k. So if you have 3 in damage, 5 rearguards, that means he's gonna become he's gonna sit at 108. Your maximum, if you calculate 5 on damage, 5 on rear, that it's 128k. So yes, you can go to 128k, and then with a V Laurel, you can times 2 that power, which is kind of crazy. Linka actually works only on the burst Vanguard, so this guy is a burst Vanguard. X-Guy is also a burst Vanguard, so that means Linka can only work with these, and you cannot use a Linka on your Geomark class. This card, in my opinion, does a lot more work than X-Gallop, and so because of that, I have cut X-Gallop from my G-Zone, and I'm gonna explain more later. But for now, this card puts in a better crit pressure than X-Gallop. That's like one of the big reasons why I actually chose not to play X-Gallop, because this guy does a crit on his own. That's what that means, is that when he swings for 3 crit, and so your opponent is more willing to guard this than just taking it in general. Whereas if you play X-Gallop, or you try into X-Gallop, the first attack is 2 crit, and then they get to get damage, and then the second attack is lesser drives, and then it's still 2 crit, and then your opponent is just, okay, it's just guard, it's just PG, because it's just lesser drives, I don't really care. So yep, I think Unibird is just better just for the pressure that he does more crits in general. And then also Unibird on Old Laurel. Hold on, where's my Old Laurel? Unibird on Old Laurel is really funny. So yep. Also when you use your Old Laurel on Unibird, even though he pluses 2 drives, it's not going to go 5 drives when you restand with Old Laurel, because his plus 2 drive skill is actually end of battle. I should probably read out the skills better next time. I don't have the translations out. Neither am I. I'm also too lazy to really read the card. So yep. Anyways, the second reason why I actually think that Unibird is just much better than X-Gallop is just because I've been going much more into Unibird than X-Gallop in such uneven ratio. Like, I've been going Unibird, and I completely sometimes forget that X-Gallop is even in my G-Zone, which I'm so sorry, X-Gallop. I think this card is just much better. It's much better designed, I think. I'm not too sure if design-wise this is much better than X-Gallop. I think Unibird brings a different light to DP. Instead of being a restander kind of deck with X-Gallop, you actually make this deck more like a one punch huge hit deck. So yep, Unibird. Also, his art is really amazing. I can't get enough of it. Unibird Galaxy is just that awesome. Next, Daikaiser Leon. So if you want to play X-Gallop, I think this is one of the slots where you can just choose not to play Daikaiser Leon. But honestly, I don't think Daikaiser Leon will leave my G-Zone. I really like him in my G-Zone. Like, the fact that you can just go into this blue lion boy, damn bro, I love this so much. His skill is act on Vanguard Circle once per turn, GB2, counterblast 1, and flip up the same unit. You need a persona flip, sorry. And then he gets a skill, the red tech skill, where if you drive check a grade 3, you may choose one of your opponent's guardians and retire it, and also nullify its cannot be hit effect. So what does that mean? It means this card actually gets over PGG guards, whereas Linka does not, because Linka only kills sentinels. So yeah, I think people just don't want to run Daikaiser Leon, because in general, your opponent can probably stop this by just guarding, like, not even with a PGG guard, just guarding cards from their hand in general, because he doesn't increase power on his own. So if you don't use a V Laurel, he's just straight up 28k. He's 28k. And also, you need to have the Daikaiser as your heart in order to actually use this. So I mean, even though we got a new G guard that basically just assures us that we can get back Daikaiser from our drop zone, the sheer fact that you do need to ride another card in order to actually use this makes it so that, like, after this turn where you Daikaiser Leon, it's basically just like you're gonna be dead anyways, because the thing is that when you Daikaiser Leon, you need to have a Laurel as well, and Laurel means you have to rest 4 cards, and resting 4 cards without having any kind of get back, for example Unibird, where he gets actual power from having so much rear guards as well as +2 drive, makes it so that Daikaiser Leon is really fragile fragile for the DP player. Even though with all of that being said, I think being able to just deny PGG guards is a really good option in this deck, as well as the fact that you can kill Guardians in general instead of just killing PGs is just really good. I really like him. I really like to play Daikaiser in my deck. So yes, I just decided to play the 2 Daikaiser Leon. I still go into him pretty often, not gonna lie. And so the other 2 remaining strats, I'm gonna be showing them off at the same time, because in my opinion they fulfill the same role. And like I said, again, if you want to play Exgalop, I think this is the perfect slot to actually substitute it. But let's first go over Dimex DX. So what does Dimex DX do? Auto and Vanguard Circle. When this card attacks, flip out 1 card in your G zone and chuck in every single rested card on your field. And if you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and then you call them in order of the highest power to lowest. And if you sucked in 4 or more rested units for its cost, all of your units plus 10k and 1 crit. And so what that means is that basically you get to have another. You basically during this turn you get to have 5 attacks, and then the last 3 attacks are basically 2 crit, or your Vanguard will probably be 3 crit, and a bunch of power. But the only bad thing about him is that if you low roll, you just call a bunch of Great 3s, and it's just like, okay, that's all, I guess. So yeah, but overall, the bad thing about Dimex DX is that he has to check top 7, and so that means after you do your Geomaglas search 2 cards, you do your Unibird, bunch of drives, your deck is going to be super small, and you really can't afford to actually go into this to look at top 7. I'm not going to deck yourself out. That's why we play Daiking. What Daiking does is he's our GB8 of the deck, skill GB8. For every unit on your field, your Vanguard pluses 10k 1 crit, and if your Vanguard's power is 80k or greater, for every crit that he has, all your rearguards plus 10k. So usually that means if you have 5 rears, you plus 5 crit, and then on top of the force 2, he's basically 7 crit, and so all of your rearguards basically plus 70k. And so that's really good. And he doesn't do a bunch of drives, he doesn't search your deck for anything. So perfect scenario when you're actually gonna deck out really soon. Just go into this GB8, your opponent's probably gonna die from this massive 3 attacks. Same could be said for Dimex DX, but it's just that picking between the 2 is really just when you have really little deck, and when you have the actual deck size to actually commit a way more bigger multi-attack turn. So yeah, I'm putting these 2 at the same slot right here, because they basically just fulfill the slot of being cards that we use in the late game, because we cannot afford to call 2 from Geomaglas, and we cannot afford to do another Unibird or Exgalop turn because the deck size is just that low. And so I think in this slot he's a lot better. So if you want to replace one for Exgalop, I'll replace Dimex, because he doesn't require deck, but whereas Dimex actually does require you to have at least 8 in deck just to call a field. And on to G-Guards. This is the best G-Guard in DP. Let's be real, this new G-Guard is stacked. But as much as everyone is playing 3 of him, I actually disagree with playing 3 of him. I might just put another copy very soon. But I just feel like playing 2 and having access to more G-Guards is just much better. And so I'm going to be laying out all my other G-Guards. You have Zeo, Excalibur, Geo5, and Atlantis Dolphin. So first of all, I think that we should go over this Giargamelgos first, which is on place on Guardian Circle, so +1, and choose 2 Great 3s from your drop zone. No, choose up to 2 Great 3s from your drop zone and add it to hand. And for every Great 3 that you add to hand from this effect, he pluses 5k shield. So it's basically a 25k, and he adds back 2 Great 3s. There are probably 20k shields on first strike when you Geomaglas. So that's really good. People play 3 of him because they just always want to see this guy, always want to use this guy, just get back all the great 3s back. But honestly, I feel like having access to Geo 5 is like if you want to switch something out to play 3, switch Geo 5. I think Geo 5 is probably a lot more useless compared to all these G-Guards. But I think the one that is worth going to is actually Zeo, which is on place on Guardian Circle, so last one. And you may choose, I'm not too sure if it's the attacking unit or the Vanguard, but it'll mostly usually just be the Vanguard. And you'll minus 5k until the end of the battle. And then if you have the same or more damage than your opponent, you may counterblast 1, and then for the turn, plus 5k. So what does this mean? This means you actually get to tank multi-attack decks that swing like 5k, 5k, 5k. You get to actually stay on 18k. It's like half of a V trigger. And then on top of that, if you sack a V trigger, you're gonna stay at 28k, which most multi-attack decks are not gonna be able to attack you at that point. And Excalibur says when placed on Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit is 35k or higher, he pluses 10k shield, and then you may discard 1 card from your hand, and then your Vanguard pluses 4k on the end of turn. So if you really wanted to, you can use this, and then use this, and then you're gonna stay at 22k. So that's like Excel or Protect with a V trigger. So yeah, just to protect yourself, you can do that. But usually the neg one from hand is not really that good. So you really just use him because it's a free 25k. And you have of course Geo 5. Skill is when placed on Guardian Circle, so last 1 card with 5k or greater, and then he passes 10k shield. And if a card is put into your damage during this turn, he pluses 5k shield, an additional 5k shield. So the reason why I play him instead of playing a third Gyaramelgos is because he's a 35k shield on his own. So some matchups you just don't get to guard with your great 3s. You need to specifically G-guard because of some guard restricts. So you just go G-guard him. He's a 30k on his own, and so a lot of the times this card actually saved my butt. He actually did save my butt. So depending on how frequent is the actual matchup to guard 30k, I might just change this into an Gyaramelgos. So yeah. And the last G-guard that I have here is Atlantis Dolphin. Skill is GB1. When placed on Guardian Circle, flip a G-Guardian face up. And then for every rear guard you have, he pluses 5k shield. And if his shield reaches 30k, you get to counter charge 1 and soul charge 1. So back then when people didn't play counter chargers, they didn't play Grand Wisdom or whatever, this was your way to basically counter charge 1 and soul charge 1. So yeah, you really just use him just so that he can counter charge 1 and soul charge 1. But a lot of the times I don't find myself having 3 or more great 3s, and the timing to have this big shield is just that much. It's just really weird, and you just might as well just go into Gyaramelgos and just fetch great 3s from your drop to hand. So yeah, that's my G-Guardian lineup. I think even though this deck profile is taking so long, I think it's good if I, introduce some other options that you may include in this deck or play in. Of course, we have Excalibur. I think I've already explained enough in this deck why Excalibur should be worth running. I'm not too sure if I did, but basically you can play him just because he swings for 2 intervals instead of just having a Unibird that swings for 1 big attack. So that scenario may come up better, but most of the time when I do feel like doing some other kind of Unibird play, I would just usually go into Daikatsu Leon instead of Excalibur. So I just decided not to run him. Of course, if I'm taking this to a tournament, I'm probably gonna put in Excalibur, but for now, I think the G zone that I'm putting in is good enough. It's good enough. Unibird has put our boy to rest for now. I know a lot of people are still playing Excalibur. It's like good 3 off, good 2 off, 1 off, but I just decided not to. And I don't know why, but I have Dailiner here. I guess Dailiner is another option that I see you are playing. It's like it's okay, but I don't understand why you would play Dailiner. Like your opponent just PGs, and it's like okay, that's the end of the story. Unless you want to bait out PGs, then yes, this is a good way to bait out PGs. I guess, but this deck does not play D-Robos. And even back then when I played D-Robos, I didn't decide to run Unibird. So yep, I don't think you should play Unibird, but you can. Zeo grade 3, because when you place him from hand, you actually get to call a random card from top deck, which sometimes the top deck call might be really good. But usually, but I think I place this here just to talk about the Zeo build. I'm not too sure about the Zeo build, but all I know is that the grade 1, the Vein, I think that's what it's called, the Vein. The Vein can basically just search the Zeo grade 2 and just ride over, or search the Zeo grade 3 and ride over, and just get enough force. I think Zeo is better like with force 1. I'm not too sure because like you can stack forces. But yeah, Zeo is a thing. You can look at other decks for how the Zeo deck actually work. I'm not too sure how it actually does work. So yes, Legio, I think I played him before. I've decided to take him out, but I'm putting him as an option because basically what he does is just Soul Blast 1 and you can intercept from backward as well. I'm not too sure if this really makes a difference in the DI matchup, but DI is really just rough for DP. This guy just, I don't know, does better in like during a Morpheus turn. I'm not too sure, but the reason why people play is because you can actually feel your field and it just feels safe filling out your field. But then again, if your opponent plays like something that just mass retires, you just straight up die. You straight up die before you can even use his skill to guard. And so, yep, Mikani is the other grade 3 that it basically allows you to counter some Soul Blast and then retire a card from your opponent's field. So if your opponent has if you are up against a mirror match, you have a Taser Large, you can actually call Mikanis to snipe the Taser Large so that it cannot rest whatever that you call from Geomar Glass, which is kind of cool. But I think other than that, and like some matchups, you need to actually retire some shit. This doesn't really do much. He looks cool, I guess, but I mean, in general, I think Taser Large just looks better in Dimension Police than Mr. Whitehair Man. Grand Wisdom, I think I've talked enough about Grand Wisdom. But yes, you can still play this guy because he countercharges. And in this deck, I think countercharge is not that important anymore because, like I said, I'm not playing X-Gallop. Also, when you play X-Gallop, I just want to say, your counterblast usage just like, the availability of counterblast just dims like crazy because when you use X-Gallop, you need to actually go Dizaurus because, or at least one Dizaurus, because like the Dizaurus actually does help with his power gain to 80k, which as you need to hit 80k, you need to actually put in effort to go 80k, unlike Unibird that goes 100k for fun. So yeah. Anyways, yes. Also, his timing for counter charge is really weird. That's why that's a downside that I don't really like. I think you should not play Enigment Calm. I think Enigment Calm is really weird. It's not really that worth it. I think Grand Monk is really good. Grand Monk basically just is a free PG because you PG, and then if the attack is 30k or greater, draw one card. And then in drop zone, you actually get to bind him, and then you 6 of your units get resist. So against Harry, against Grand Blue, against Kagero, they cannot deny Griffin you. Like the G-Guards cannot kill your units anymore, cannot kill your Daikaisers, cannot kill your Dizauruses, so that's really really nice. But I just decided to cut him because like the Great One space is just really that. It's really little. Like the deck space in DP is really little in my opinion. I've been really like shuffling around the cards a lot. I might just put him back. I only play 1 because I feel like playing 1 is just that. It's better than playing 2. 2 is really too much. It really takes up a lot of space. And so yeah, and then I think I can put in these 2 as well at the same slot. They're basically just like these 2 search rate 3. And then these 2 get an additional card in your hand when you ride over or like ride. So I think I should talk about Grand Rope first. Grand Rope or Grand Zao is a grade 3. This is a normal grade 3 searcher. I think it's really good because it's he searches a grade 3 when you call him as a rear guard. So that means you get to actually search for whatever grade 3s that's still in your deck, as well as search for grade 3s in your drop from the new G-Guard. It's really cool, you know. But space is a thing. I just rather run Laurels, run Jawheads rather than just playing him. But that might change. I did actually play him like once. and it was not that bad. And so then these two are just basically the right target, or the right target alternatives. This allows you to put back a grade 3 from your hand and then draw 2. That's really good. I really like that. And so that was the main reason why I just like did not feel like playing the bike, because this card just feels a lot better than the bike. But the bike actually searches you for a grade 3, so I was like really debating it. And this card, you get the best of both worlds. You get to get an additional card onto your hand, and you actually get to get a grade 3. But this is not confirmed, so it's just unreliable. So yep, that's all the options I have right now. Now I want to discuss. So yeah, that was the DP deck profile. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Enjoyed a different list. I don't know if it's that different, because like this list is really, it's like kind of like a bit. It's really similar to the template build. It's just some things that I changed here and there. And so yeah, I know I've delayed this ever since Premium Collection released in Japan. I've really delayed this deck, but I finally got it out. I can still sit here and talk about some matchups and some deck changes and deck ideas, but I think that's really too long for just a deck profile of Premium. But if you want me to talk about it, like and maybe comment. So yeah, that was it. And if you stayed through this, what I'm looking at is 1 hour. After editing, probably like less than 1 hour. But if you stayed through this, I'd like to thank you. Let's get to like 100 subs. Yes, I'm not even hitting 100 subs. That's how small I am. But yes, anyways, see you guys next time. Bye bye.